Hello, this is Sextalker here. Welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we are going to be looking at 10 more monster cards which are banned and why they are banned. So let's go. So the first card for this episode is Rescue Cat. Now, because you don't know what this card does, if you send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 level 3 or lower beast-type monsters from your deck. That does this card need explaining. Essentially, you get rid of this and you get +2 to the field from the deck, which then you could then use to do a lot of shenanigans, such as synchro summoning and all that sort of jazz, depending obviously on which cards you get. So the reason this is banned, it's just 2 free cards. But there is a slight downside, they are destroyed, but this is still OP, it doesn't matter. Next up is Sangen. Now let's just emphasise this, the old Sangen, not the new one, because the new one is actually pretty okay and not broken. The old Sangen, which if this card is sent from the first graveyard, doesn't have to be destroyed, just sent there from the field to the graveyard. Add one monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. Essentially, if this thing destroyed, you can essentially just get another one or something else similar. And it's again a 3+1 essentially from your deck to your hand. The new effect at this one, if whatever card you get, you essentially can't use it the same turn, which I think is a lot better, to be honest. So next up is Shurit. I think I said that right. Strategist of the Necros. So this one essentially, if you are going to ritual summon an Necros monster from your hand to the field, of course, you can use this thing as the entire sacrifice. Even though this thing is only 3-star, you could use it for level 8 and just use this card. But that's not why it is broken, even though it is a pretty good effect. The next effect is why I believe it is broken. This card is attributed by a card effect, which technically that would be because you are using that effect as a tribute for another card. You can have one warrior type Necros ritual monster from your deck to your hand. So if you use this to ritual summon something, you can get another one of these from your deck and do exactly the same next turn. Yeah, that's why this card's banned. Substitute. Now, the reason that this card is banned is because it was involved in a loop which could essentially FTK your opponent. You would use Substitute along with a card called Rodin Toadin, I think it's called. So essentially, that goes to the graveyard using this thing's effect, and then you special summon it back and deal 400 damage to your opponent, and then you use Substitute's effect to send it back there, and just keep going on and on and on until your opponent is dead. That's just why this card is banned. So next up we have Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms. Now, same as the other Dragon Ruler cards, essentially this card can keep getting itself back from the graveyard by banishing 2 Wind or Dragon type monsters or Dragon type monsters from the graveyard and just keep getting itself back. Especially some of this card using that effect, and then you can discard this card and 1 Wind monster to the graveyard, add 1 Dragon from your deck to your hand. So that's one way of getting to go, and then special summoning it using its first effect. And then when this card is banished, you can add 1 Wind Dragon type monster from your deck to your hand to get another one of these out, and then just continue the cycle. That's why the thing is banned. It is OP. Next up we have Tidal, Dragon Ruler of Waterfall. This one is named for exactly the same reason as the other one. So one of its effects allows it to discard this card and another war monster to send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard, essentially giving this a chance to come back, and then you can use that monster and another one which you discarded to get this thing onto the field. And then its final effect, which is if it's banished, you can add 1 Water Dragon type monster to your hand. So you can just add another one of these, same as the others, and the cycle continues. Next up is Tribe Infecting Virus. Now this card is OP, and I can see why it is still banned, especially if you've got DNA Surgery in your deck. Discard 1 card from your hand, declare a monster type, destroy all face-up monsters of the declared type on the field. So essentially use DNA Surgery to make everything say machine, declare machine, and all of them have gone. So that's why this card is banned, it can just destroy anything. Victory Dragon. Now the overall effect isn't the best, but I can see why it has banned it, especially in tournament play. Cannot express summoned, that doesn't really matter. True summoning must sacrifice 3 Dragon type monsters, again doesn't really matter. This is why it is banned. If this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. Which means essentially if you're playing a best of 3 and you do this on the first match, you win the whole thing. Which is just unfair. Next is Witch of the Black Forest. This thing has exactly the same effect as Sangen, near enough. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So Sangen was attack, this one is defense, and for the exactly same reason, this one doesn't state that you can't use it in the same turn. So you can just use this as a sacrifice, and since it was sent from the field to give again another card, so much shenanigans. And next up is probably the most obvious one of this video. It is Yata-Garasu. Now everybody knows why this card is banned. The notorious Yatta Lock. So essentially, when this card attacks your opponent directly, I believe, when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, they can skip the next draw phase. So if they are wide open for attack and have got nothing to stop you at all in their hand, they are complete and utterly screwed and can't do anything. Even though this thing returns to your hand at the end of the turn, you can just pressure summon it again and just keep inflicting 200 damage every turn until you win. So that is why this thing is banned, because it is the most OP card in history. Okay, so that's it for this video. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to punch the like button, leave a comment down below, of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. Awesome most, follow me on Twitter, link down below as always. So last video to say, thank you so much for watching. I've been X-Star Killer, so see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video.